Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where everybody is. So I'm Alison Wright, I'm a consultant in the UK, and I'm just going to talk for the next 15 minutes or so about the importance of obstetricians and midwives working together as a team. Now, that might sound very obvious to everybody here, but I think we still have some hearts and minds to win. And I hope I'm going to demonstrate to you why that's so important that we do that for the women that we're looking after. It's really exciting to be at this virtual event. There's a real buzz and I'm delighted to be reconnected with Jyoti Uni and also with Evita Fernandez. Evita, who I met 35 years ago when I was a medical student and first came to Hyderabad. I then did some voluntary work in Uttar Pradesh, and this is the newspaper cutting when I came back from there, which they thought was all rather interesting. And then earlier this year, I was honoured to receive an honorary fellowship of the Indian College of Obstetrics and Gynaecology. So I have a long history of loving India. About the UK now, we've had a lot of controversy, especially in the last few years, by largely people in the media or people who don't really understand, trying to polarise us. And this is really important when it comes to obstetricians and midwives, because there are some who try to put midwives in the camp of wanting everything natural at all costs, and some who put people, doctors like me, in the camp of wanting intervention without any reason. And what we need to get across to those people is that we as obstetricians, as midwives, all want the same thing. We all want personalised care for women. We all want women to have safety. We all want women to have choice. And I give credit to Sue Down, Professor Sue Down, who's here at this conference, because she has really got that narrative, that message across very clearly, that we can and we should be offering all women both safety and choice. They are not mutually exclusive. As a result of some of the discussions in the UK, we established One Voice, and this was in 2018, and I'm really glad that Catherine Gutteridge is here to chair this session because she was from the RCM part of this conversation. One Voice aims to ensure the best outcomes for mothers and babies, and this is obvious, of course, we all want the best possible outcome. But One Voice makes it very clear to anybody who says otherwise that we all believe that safety and choice come together. These should not be traded off one against each other. It's not a case that obstetricians want to do one thing and midwives want to do another. We respect each other's expertise and relative remits, of course, but we are there to work together for the benefit of women. So the One Voice group was set up, started with the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynaecologists, with the Royal College of Midwives in the UK, and then it expanded. So other colleges came on board, other charities, the National Childbirth Trust, SANS and others. And then we had paediatricians, and it became a big group, all saying we want to be part of this One Voice to make it very clear to women that we are all wanting the best for them and their care, and we're going to do this together. So various objectives of the One Voice group. One was to provide continuity of care. We know evidence is very clear that if we can provide continuity of care for women throughout the antenatal, intrapartum, postnatal periods, this does improve care. Postnatal, the care always often a neglected area. And the promotion of multidisciplinary working. And that's not just multidisciplinary working, but also multidisciplinary training. We're very keen that obstetricians and midwives, as demonstrated in the prompt courses, which are international now, midwives and obstetricians work together and train together. So we're learning together and supporting each other in what we do. Obviously, also to support workforce recruitment. So we're looking at supporting each other in building up that capacity in the workforce. We do know that in some countries, we need to support each other and much more with this. So the One Voice team, this is Leslie Regan, our past president, and Jill Walton together. This was when Jill received her honorary fellowship of our college. Catherine Gutteridge was part of this, as was Jackie Dunkley-Bent and Matthew Jolly, showing that the senior leadership of obstetricians and midwives are absolutely speaking with one voice and acting with one voice. And we thought that this was really powerful. Some of you who are royal fans, which I am, may recognise the Duchess of Cambridge here. And we got together again, obstetricians and midwives, to say to the Royal Highness, these are what we think that women need, and please help us to do this, which she was very keen to do so. And again, speaking with one voice, we had women representatives, so patient representatives there around the table, senior midwives, senior obstetricians, all speaking with one voice for women and how we can all together improve women's care. Internationally also, FIGO and ICM are increasingly working together. We've had the privilege of working with Anne Yates and Florence on a PPH project. And again, it's really important that FIGO, Safe Motherhood Committee, work together as we are doing with ICM on these projects so that we're all seen to be saying the same thing when we're talking to other member societies internationally. One of the areas apart from postpartum hemorrhage that we're focusing on is unnecessary cesarean sections. We all know that there has been unprecedented rise in cesarean section rates over the world in the last decade or two, I think it's fair to say. And as the WHO says, we need to move away from those extremities from too much too soon to too little too late, or too little too late to too much too soon. And we know, those of us who've worked in big cities and also in rural remote areas, how those extremes really play out, and that sometimes we do intervene too soon and sometimes women don't have the care and intervention that they actually need. So we really need to get that balance right. And again, we have to work together to do this, and we have to work together with one voice. I was really pleased to be part of this Intrapartum Care for Positive Childbirth experience at the WHO 2 years ago. And at the table, we discussed what should be the new target for cesarean sections. And I'm really glad that we resolved, our consensus was that we should not have a particular target, because actually we need to give care to every woman, and we need to make sure that every woman gets good care and a good birth, and that the cesarean section if it's needed and not if it isn't. And to do that, of course, we look at Robson's criteria. So taking nulliparous single cephalic term pregnancies, that's Robson's group 1, we look at those women who set out to have a normal vaginal delivery. And I'm not talking about those women who choose to have a cesarean section, that's in a different category. I'm talking about women who set out to have a vaginal delivery, physiological delivery. Those are the women who choose to have a vaginal birth, who want to have a vaginal birth, and who ought to have a vaginal birth, in whom we need to really do everything we can to support that, as long as it's safe to do so. And those are the women where we need to focus on, I think, all our efforts, making sure that those women are truly supported to have a vaginal delivery. So just on a local level, this was taken obviously pre-COVID, and also pre-electronic records. This is a group of midwives and doctors in my local hospital, and we look at the cesarean sections of the previous 24 hours to see what happened there. Could we have left that woman longer? Could we have given her more support? Could we have given her more fluids? Could we have changed her position, etc., etc.? And in all these cases where we do cesareans, we look at them to see what happened exactly. Was there something in the antenatal period, for example, we could have done differently? And again, that depends on midwives and doctors working very closely together to make sure that we support women in their choices. And if women are choosing to have vaginal births, that we really make sure that we do everything we can to give them the options and look at how best we can support them to do that. So just summing up, I hope I've demonstrated very briefly that it's really important that we work together. It's vital that we speak with one voice. It's vital for the women. It's also vital that we don't allow the media or others who have different agendas to polarize us, because it's really important that women have safety and choice. We must, of course, respect each other's remits. Midwives and obstetricians have very different expertise, and although I was saying it's very good to train together, there may be other times when we need to be together as doctors or as midwives in terms of specifics. So we really need to respect each other's roles and respective remits. We have to bury the stereotypes. We have to get rid of the stereotype that says that I'm a doctor that wants to intervene and this person is a midwife who wants everything normal at all costs. This is not true in the 21st century, and we really need to bury that and make sure that we work together. We all want the same for women. We all want women to have better births. And finally, I'm so pleased to be at this conference because I think we really need, as obstetricians, to stand together with midwifery colleagues and to promote midwifery in all aspects. And that means promote midwifery in our own hospitals, promote midwifery in the wider sense, and also internationally, if there are areas in the world where we need to promote midwifery so that all women have a midwife, this is what we have to stand together to do, for the sake of all the women that we care for. Thank you for listening.